Morning, students. Welcome to class. Okay. This session, we're going to talk about some and any. Okay. Some and any for countable and countable nouns. Let me share the screen. Okay. There we go. Okay. Let me share the screen. Hold on a second. About some and any, no? Okay. As you can see here, we have when to use some and when to use any.
When to use the word some and any.
Okay, let's begin with food. As you can see, we have apples, the first word. There are some apples. Then we have food, bread, there is some bread. Eggs, there are some eggs. And wine, there is some wine. Obviously, as you can see, we have used some in all the sentences. Okay, some apples, some bread, some eggs, some wine. Okay, apples and eggs are countable because they have plural. Bread and wine is uncountable. They don't have plural. So it's divided into countable nouns and uncountable nouns. Remember, we can use both for countable and uncountable nouns. Some, okay? And also the verb is very important, no? For countable nouns, we use the verb are, and for uncountable nouns, we use the verb is, as you can see in the example, okay? So that's it, the main difference between countable and uncountable nouns, okay? So we have a rule. It says, rule number 1, we use some in positive sentences with countable nouns in plural and uncountable nouns in plural form. Okay? Okay. Now, let's go to the second part, which is questions. Okay? How to make questions. We have chocolate. Pay attention. Chocolate. That's the first word. And the question. Look at the formation of the question. It says, do you have any chocolates? Is there any milk in the fridge? Are there any carrots? Do you have any cheese? So again, no, here you can see any is used for questions in this case, no? For countable and uncountable nouns, okay? Countables and uncountable nouns. And then we have the rule. It says we use any in questions, countable nouns in plural and uncountable nouns, okay? And also we can have any in negative forms too, negative forms. For example, I don't want any chocolates. There aren't any strawberries. We don't want any wine. There isn't any water. See? So any is for both, for countable and uncountable nouns in negative form. Okay? Negative form. Let's see the rule. This is rule number 2. We use any in the negative form, okay? Countable nouns in the plural and uncountable nouns too, okay? That's very easy, guys. Now let's go to the pedagogical sheet number 4. Okay, let me share the screen. It's over here. Yes, as you can see, this is the first part, okay? You got to match. Okay, it talks about amphibians and reptiles. It says, an animal which has cold blood and lay eggs. Its body is covered with scales or hard parts, which is amphibian or reptile. Okay, you said reptile. Reptile. Okay, an animal which can be on land or in water. It has a cold blood. Is amphibian. Okay, very good. Okay, now let me see the second part. Let's go to the second part, guys, which is listening. I want you to listen carefully. Listen. Let me share the screen just in case. Okay. Listen attentively and do the exercise. Okay. Answer the questions. Okay. Yeah. Listen carefully. Listen.
One.
Stay close. Don't be putting your fingers through the basket.
We have a large collection of frogs here in the reptile house. Some of these frogs are endangered, so the zoo works to help the survival of the species. Not all our frogs are green. For example, we've got golden frogs from Panama in Central America. They're endangered. And these lovely frogs you're looking at here are very brightly coloured. Can you guess their name? I'll give you a clue. They're named after some fruit.
Apple frogs?
No.
Hang on. I know. Strawberry frogs.
No, actually, they're called tomato frogs. They're from Madagascar. Although they're amphibians, they're not very good at swimming.
2.
Where are the animals in this enclosure? I can't see any. Maybe it's something small, like a scorpion.
I hope it isn't a spider. Oh, look! That stone moved.
It's a tortoise. It says here it's called a pancake tortoise.
Does it eat pancakes?
Don't be silly. It's quite flat, like a pancake.
I knew that. 3.
Here's a very unusual animal. It lives in Mexico and the southern United States. It's called a Gila monster because it's quite a large lizard. The adults are about 50 centimeters long, but you don't often see them because they spend a lot of time underground. There's another reason why they're called monsters. They're actually poisonous. Lizards are really like snakes with legs. They have small heads and long bodies and tails.
Gross! Look at its tongue.
Do you know why they stick their tongues out so often? Both lizards and snakes use their tongues to smell with.
4. What's that? Is it an alligator?
No, that's an Orinoco crocodile. It's from Colombia and Venezuela, where it lives in rivers. But there aren't many left in the wild. It's very rare. It can grow up to 5 meters, the largest predator in South America.
I can only see its eyes now.
Yes, its eyes are right on the top of its head, so that it can hide its body underwater and watch for fish, birds, and small reptiles like lizards to eat.
Does it eat people?
No, not usually. It likes fish best, so you don't need to worry.
5. Hey, there's a snake up in that tree. Can you see it?
What's it doing? Is it sleeping?
No. It's jumping. Look, that's so cool.
It says here that it's a flying snake from India. Of course, it's not really flying. But they can move from one tree to another like that. They sometimes travel 100 meters through the air.
Are they dangerous?
Well, they're poisonous, but they aren't dangerous to humans.
Okay, thank you. Remember, you have to answer the questions. Okay, now let's continue with the second part, which is the workbook. Okay, okay. Now let's go to the workbook part. Let me share the screen. Okay, and let's do the exercise. Okay. Okay, here we have it. Okay, it's about some and any, remember. This is a mixture of questions, affirmative and negative sentences, okay? It says here, match the two columns to make sentences. Is there any, remember, this is a question, so you have to look for the complement. Is, in the singular, obviously. Is there any, okay? Is there any rice for dinner? Exactly, rice is uncomfortable. So it uses the verb to be is. Is there any rice for dinner? Then we have there aren't. Aren't, the second sentence is negative. So you have to look for any. There aren't any bananas. What do you think? Any bananas. Excellent. Then we have a question. Have you got? Have you got is the same as do you have. Have you got is British English and do you have is American English. So have you got is a question. You have to look for the correct word, which is any or some. Remember. Have you got a biscuit? A biscuit in your lunch bag? Obviously, this is the correct why because it's singular. So have you got a biscuit? Or have you got a banana? Have you got an apple? Have you got a lemon? Have you got an orange? It's singular. In this case, it's correct. But in other cases, you can use any. Okay? Very good. Now, let's go to the second part of the pedagogical sheet, which says complete the dialogue with some or any. It says, let's make a cake. That's a good idea. Okay, what have we got? Well, you choose milk. Milk is uncountable, some or any. If it's affirmative, obviously you choose some milk. Are there eggs? This is a question. Remember, for question, you use some or any. Any, very good. Okay, and then we can continue completing, okay? Let's check the answers. Okay, correct. And then please, you complete in the same way, no? Check if it's affirmative, negative, or question. Now, let's share the other example. Okay. And it says here, complete. There's a complete the sentence that use the words in brackets and some or any, no? Make the countable nouns plural. It says, we got, look at in parentheses you have, or bracket, it says, biscuit. Is affirmative, no? For affirmative, you use some. So you use some and the word in parentheses, obviously, some biscuits. Number 2 says, I've got money. It's affirmative. I've got some money. Very good. Mhm. What about the third one? The third one is a question. You can see it. Are there tomatoes? So for question, what do you use? Some or any? Any tomatoes. You see? Okay. Okay. Very good. And then you can continue doing the exercise. Okay. Remember, guys, we use some for countable nouns and uncountable nouns. Any for countable and uncountable nouns. Any is also used for questions and negative sentences. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed. Please don't forget to turn in the pedagogical sheet on time. Thank you, cadets. Bye-bye. See you next class.